Good evening and welcome to the Shan Show, part of the Cheese Room podcast. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And Brendan, your first time on the Shan Show.
Is it? Oh, yeah, but I was on last week, surely, wasn't I? Anyway, it's great to be on. Thank you for having me. I'm sure I've been on before, though, at least once. Haven't I?
Oh, did you do the greatest Spurs moments show?
No, it might have been a Monday or a Friday. We do so many shows, but it's good to be on the Shan Show. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Bren. Thanks, guys. So as advertised on Twitter today is a call-in. So I've posted the link in the comments. If anyone wants to jump on and discuss anything, please do. Aviva will be joining us shortly. She's obviously on US time. She's getting back from work, etc. So she'll be with us shortly. Just to bring up Craig's comment here, I was watching Man United throw all their money down the drain, and it is absolutely brilliant. Bren, have you seen any of the United game? Have you been watching the first half?
Because I'm on Brazilian time as well, so I've been at work. But I do know they were 2-0 down at half time and loads of boos. Maguire wasn't great on the second. Another one of Fergie's fledgling wannabe managers that have failed, as we've seen another one in Brucey go recently. So yeah, I think that's the kiss of death. If you play for Fergie, you're going to be a shit manager. Just accept it.
I mean, there's talks of Wayne Rooney going to Newcastle, isn't there? That's going to be a recipe for disaster because he couldn't even. What's he done to get that job? Do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit soon for him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, a lot of the issues at Derby aren't his fault, but again, way too soon a step up. Now they've got all that money. I think Fonseca was the favourite today after Bruce packed his bags and went home for some bacon and cabbage.
Oh, imagine if Fonseca goes there and just absolutely like nails it, and they're just flying, and we're sat here like, oh, that's what could have been.
It's a risk though. Like in the first season, their key initiative is just to stay up. That's all they have to do this season.
They're just going to leak goals though, aren't they? Because Fonseca doesn't believe in defending, so they've not really got the attacking prowess to be able to get away with playing the type of football he'd want to play. Surely, I think that's a bit of a recipe for disaster as well.
Yeah, no, he's a decent enough manager. I mean, he was sacked by Roma, so he can't be that good. They finished 7th, I think, last season, and they went with Jose, knowing that he was available, quite similar to us, sort of sacking a young and upcoming manager in Poch and bringing in Jose when we'd had a dodgy finish to a season. So, but yeah, you're right. They don't have the players for his kind of football. You'd want someone just to keep them up. So then you're looking at getting Big Sam back. It's probably too big a job for Roy. Bless him. He should stick with retirement.
Definitely.
Q-list. You know what I mean? Like they're the sorts of men you want to stay up. And they've got the track record of doing it. Fonseca would be a risk. He's never been in the Premier League before. So the money rich Saudis have got a big decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, Craig's echoing what we're saying. It's he's too attack minded for us. So could you imagine Newcastle? They just leak goals for fun.
Yeah,
definitely.
He'd be good in the Championship, wouldn't he?
It'd be great to watch. I mean, look at this rate, they're going to be the richest club in the Championship, aren't they? So I certainly hope they will be as well. Like, I don't agree with the takeover at all. I don't know what you think about it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's just the state of the game these days. Money rules everything, and the Premier League are hilarious in the way that they just accept it. They said, "Oh no, they gave us reassurances that it's not the state of Saudi Arabia, it's the PIF, it's the investment fund, the private investment fund, which is run by the Saudi regime." It's insane. And yeah, the human rights records, like homosexuality is punished by flogging and execution in repeat cases. So it's shocking that the Premier League have allowed this. And I think we're leading the way in the protests. And there was the announcement today of no sort of inside investment in the club, like Man City did with Etihad. So they got this sponsorship, which obviously was way inflated compared to other sponsorship deals from within the same company. And so the Premier League, rightfully, again, they're blocking that to just try and stop these nation states from just throwing money at the clubs to kill competition.
So this is, I think, is this another Daniel Levy masterstroke? Obviously, he's leading the front line with this, with the other chairmen, CEOs, whatever they are, the other clubs. This is definitely on my list of things to talk about. And if you guys have an opinion, the link is at the top of the chat. Make sure you dial in and chat about it with me and Bren. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. Whether it will happen permanently or not, it's just temporary, isn't it?
It's a month.
Yeah. So in a month's time, they could the stadium could be sponsored by Shell. That's one of their companies. Disney, Starbucks, all of these companies, is the sponsorship money that they could chuck into it is just.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to remove with this change. I think it's the right thing to do. The other clubs I think it was only 2 clubs that didn't vote for it, and that was City. They abstained, and Newcastle obviously voted against. But it makes sense. I mean, you can't sponsor your own company. You know what I mean? Like it just creates such doesn't create any competition, and it's sad for football that it was coming out there. We had asked the question: would we accept the Saudi takeover? And I don't think we would. I certainly wouldn't. No. We'd be happy because we'd have money, but at the same time, if that's what the game's become, who has the most money will always win. It just kills the jeopardy. It kills the enjoyment of it, and again, that's why the Super League is a bad idea as well, because it just keeps the richer rich, and the pyramid suffers as a result.
Absolutely, and I've said it as well. I'd cancel my membership if we were to be taken over by a regime like the Saudis. I just don't agree with any of it at all, and I think my morals would come before. I wouldn't sell my soul to go and watch Spurs. Put it that way. If it was all blood money, I just think it does. It just takes the enjoyment and the excitement out of it. But I've seen today as well, obviously, ENIC are wanting to buy Standard Lit. I can never say it. This is where you need HG.
Standard Liège, was it that one?
Yeah.
Was it that one? I know it was somewhere.
Standard Liège? I
think it's Liège.
Yeah. Liège, yeah. Obviously, ENIC wanting to buy them. And that could work for us. It could be a good thing, stepping stone club. It's a way to sort of loan out players, get them first team experience, and then we get first dibs on all their best talents as well. Could be a really good. There we go, Cody coming in with the rescue. Standard Liège, yeah. But yeah, it could be a masterstroke. Could help us.
Chelsea have it, I think, already with a team in, is it Belgium? Is it Antwerp? Royal Antwerp, I think.
Yeah.
I might be wrong with that one, but and it worked for them. Chelsea, as much as we hate them,
as well. Brighton,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it can only be a positive thing as long as it's not using our money to invest in Liège. Then go for it, knock yourselves out. They might not win anything for a while. You know,
the ENIC kiss of death. there'll be ENIC outers in Belgium. Just going, it is in Belgium, isn't it?
God, that all of that will start over there as well. Belgians on Twitter will be going mad. Oh, it's got an absolute nightmare. You'll have banners outside the stadium. Yeah, it's definitely.
Chelsea club is who we play tomorrow. Okay.
But Vitesse.
So their feeder club is Vitesse. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll be doing a review of that tomorrow on the pod with HG, our Vitesse Arnhem expert, because he lived in Arnhem. He's lived everywhere, basically in Europe. I've lived in a lot of places in South America.
He's the globetrotter, isn't he? So.
He's the Euro trotter. I'm the South American trotter. That sounds weird. But yeah, so yeah, Vitesse. Thank you, Brian, for that. Yeah, Brian, come on, join us. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. Jump on. The link is at the top of the comments. I'm not as clever as Caller. I don't know how to pin it. So just stroll to the top. If you can't find it, I'll put it back in there. But yeah, no, I think it could be a good thing. Like you say, as long as our money isn't invested, then cool. I'm all for it. But yeah, speaking of Vitesse, none of the outfield players that played against Newcastle are were on the flight to Vitesse to Arnhem. What do you think of that, Bren? I'm a bit perplexed by it.
It's risk, but I think we've probably got enough points on the board that we can risk a draw. This is probably Vitesse's biggest game in a long time, certainly in Europe. So they'll be up for it. They lost to Rennes. Was it Rennes, the other team?
Rennes, yeah.
And I don't know, but they must have beaten the other teams. So
Mura.
Yeah, so Mura, yeah, Jesus, getting everyone confused now. So yeah, it's a risk, but you'd like to think we have enough in our second string to handle what they've got. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the first team go, but we've just come back from an international break, so I think Nuno just wants them sort of on the training pitch for the full time. He'll obviously travel with the second string. But I can understand it. I'm not overly fussed about the Conference League. I think that we should qualify for the Europa League irrespective of that. I don't think we need it. To me, the Conference League is a bit like the Intertoto Cup. It's not... I don't know if you remember the Intertoto Cup. It was a cup in the 90s that we used to play in to try and get into Europe. But we'd play our second string. I think we signed Alan Pardew for a game to play in midfield, and we lost 9-0, and I think that's our largest defeat, a record largest defeat. I see the Conference League in a similar sort of area. I don't think it is the Cup Winners' Cup, as some people have said. Obviously, it's great to win a trophy, stepping stones, etc. But I see it as a way to blood the youngsters in, get them some game time for the first team, to get some players back from injury like Bergwijn. So it's a risk, but we should have enough to deal with them. They're, I think, 7th or 5th or 7th in the Dutch league at the moment. So they're not one of the big teams. They will be up for it, but we should have enough for them.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, we did think that about Passos. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing, obviously, Bergwijn back. Oh, we've got Brian. Hey. Brian dialing in. Daigle, how are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you? You asked for me to come, and here I am. I'm like a genie out of a lamp.
It just appeared. I was rubbing my mic, thinking, "Here comes Daigle. Here he comes." How are you doing, Brian? You good?
That sounds better than the Boris Johnson of. That's a better one. I prefer that one, Sean. Yeah, I'm good. How are you, hon?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, watched the first 45 of the United game with, oh Jesus Christ, Atalanta, which was great entertainment. I think it's 2-1 now. I think Rashford scored, but yeah, that was great. Obviously, boos at half time. All is not well in the red side of Manchester, which is always nice to see.
Well,
exactly. But what? God, Brendan.
There you go, man. You go. You just come.
First of all, I just want to say, Brendan, it's the first time I've actually been on a stream with you, so it's good to finally be on a stream with you, my friend.
Yes, likewise. Good to finally meet you, mate.
Brian,
you go ahead. You go ahead, mate.
One question I've got to ask you: if we buy Liège, are you going to fly to Belgium and protest ENIC out there as well, or are we just going to have you here in Toronto on the odd occasion?
Has your stream gone past the 10-minute mark? Yes, it has. Okay, so I can. Let's say I'll try and be as clean as I can. But if we put any money into Liège, I will go batshit effing crazy. Absolutely. Insanely crazy. But listen, the sad thing is, I think we're going to do it. That's the thing. I really don't want to see us. If he goes and invests in another team when we don't even invest in ours, it's just, to me, I understand what you're saying. Like, we could become a Vitesse man and we could have that feeder club, and that's the funny side to look at it. But we don't even invest in our players that we need. And to see him then go put money somewhere else would just be like all this extra money that was coming into the club or wherever it's coming from. It would be the biggest slap in the face, I'd honestly think. But listen, yeah, I would go slightly insane.
Do you think? Obviously, they'll have to do the investment to buy Liège. I can't imagine it would be anywhere near the amount that the Saudis paid for Newcastle, Bren. Do you think? I think it'll be probably quite a bit less than that. But obviously, if it's Enix money and Liège are self-sustaining like Spurs are, then and we've got somewhere to send our young players on loan like Dane Scarlett, Mark Day, Harvey White, all the great talent we've got coming through the academy. Surely that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, you're right. This model has been used before, as we discussed with Brighton and Chelsea are benefiting from it. So I think what the issue is, and rightly so, is that where is the money coming from? We can't, like the money that's Tottenham Hotspur, that can't be used to buy another club. If it is Joe Lewis has decided to invest in something else, he's got investments all over the shop, then that's his business. But you'd like to think that what the money that Tottenham Hotspur is generating remains within the club, which is what the club sort of said in their response to the trust when the trust was asking, where is this additional money going? And they're saying it's within the club, which it has to, but it's also like, well, okay, within the club, but where are you investing in what now? Are you investing in infrastructure? You're investing in the first team. So it's kind of where that money goes within the club that's of interest to people like us. So I think I'd be behind it if it's done the right way, because we've seen it work with other teams. But as we said, the money and where it comes from, I don't know how much a team in Belgium would go for, but I would be saying 100 mil should do it. Their wage bill would be what, around 15, 20s. Wage bill is always what, 50% of revenue roughly. So yeah, I'd say maybe 100 mil. And if Joe Lewis wants to spunk that on a team to help Tottenham, then I'm for it.
Brian, what's your counter?
Well, no, I mean, the only counter I have is why invest 150 million in something like that when you can pay 150 million towards the debt that we've got, or you can spend 150 million pounds that you're investing, if it is Joe Lewis doing it that way, that we've needed to spend on the first team. Now, obviously, if we win the Premier League, that's a lot more, or not, I'm not saying we're going to win it, but if we invest right, which we never do, if we won the Premier League, there's that 150 million you're investing. Then you're back in the Champions League with the big money. So it's like, seeing that he hasn't invested in the club a lot, it could, that 150 million that you're trying to invest elsewhere is, to me, it could go on better things. And when you say you're not going to invest any money, but you'll go invest in another football club, that doesn't sit right with me. It may sit right, and I can see where Brendan's coming from when you say, look, the reason is, if you look at it, I'll tell you a story now that someone told me, and it was about an evening with Ray Wilkins. Like I went to the Genoa evening, someone had one of them with Ray Wilkins, and they were talking about when Abramovich bought Chelsea. And apparently Ray Wilkins was telling this story where the first thing Roman Abramovich said is, what's this youth academy all about? What is it? Why do we have it? And they said, oh, so we develop players, bring them through, and they come into the first team. And Abramovich was like, well, here's my checkbook. Just go buy the players that you need. Just go buy them ready-made. Why shut this down? It's a waste. And they're like, we can't. And he kept saying, close this down. And they're like, well, no, we can't, because the FA will go crazy. The backlash of English football will go crazy. So now what they do, which is very clever on their part, is Vitesse Arnhem is basically where a lot of Chelsea loan players are. And you see they keep churning players out on loan. And this is why they got into trouble with the transfer ban they had, because they had so many players out on loan, because they just keep recouping the loan fees, like kind of what we do with Cameron Carter-Vickers. But they do it on multiple levels. And I understand that it could nurture youth, but I just see it causing more problems, because we're bringing in people like Sarr, who we send out on loan immediately, and a lot of these players don't get a look in anyway. So you're just recouping the loan fee, and I'd rather doing it that way. I'd rather Joe Lewis say, listen, the 150 million. Let's just say it was 150, like Brendan said. This is obviously a number we're just using for a gauge, and say, here you go. Go buy that attacking midfielder that you want. Go buy let's say it's Vlahovic, like the replacement striker, and off you go. And that's, I mean, if that was that's the big problem with it. There's just, in the first team, there's no superior investment. Brendan, I don't know if I've come up with this new theory of what I've called our transfer market system. Like, I've linked it to Countdown. You know, when they do the mass number, they say we'll take 1 from the top and 5 from the bottom. That's kind of what we do. We buy one superstar or one big player, and then we go and buy like your Nkudu, your Ng's, your bargain basement. And I want us to see us buy players. I don't mean world class level every time, but a high level. I want the ready-made player coming, not this one's going to be a star in the future. And I think if we do that with Stan and Liège, we're just repeating that process, but just sending more people out on loan to one club.
With regards to your comment about the 150 mil that it would potentially cost Joe Lewis to buy Liège, how would we get that money into the club to and get around financial fair play, Brian? Because without sponsorship, you can't really get the money, and obviously Daniel Levy's leading the charge to get internal sponsorship from companies owned by the owners blocked. So that's how it would go.
The thing you got to look at, Shan, as well, and a lot of people are forgetting this, and this is why I was getting so annoyed with transfer as well, is we signed that sleeve sponsor last January. We signed the training gear sponsorship this summer. The funds are there, the concerts and everything that's going to be coming into the club. And then also, we might just have naming rights 5 years later, even though we signed a guy from the Dallas Cowboys, I think it was, or Miami Dolphins, to come in and attract these people. And we've got so close to these naming rights so many times, and then it's nothing. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I obviously know my stance on this, but when it comes to the money if you look at it, let's put it that way. Mike Ashley had a bigger net spend than us for the time that he was there to the time he's just left whilst Lee was there. So I'm not talking the whole 21 years. I'm talking Ashley's starting point to Ashley's leaving point, that same period. And they can go and spend 190 million. So we can't be, we can't be, I wouldn't say far off that, because we keep ending up with a profit. So I don't know the exact figure or the exact amount or anything, but I'm sure if we wanted to, we could go on a bit of a shop.
But I understand what you say there, Brian, but playing devil's advocate, and I'm going to put this as politically correct as I can, because we have got a Geordie in the comments. Thank you, Alan. I will come to your comments shortly. Surely that shows that it's not what you spend, it's what you spend it on. Because if Newcastle have a higher net spend than Spurs, I'm not being funny, but look at Newcastle right now. They're sat pretty much rock bottom of the Premier League. 3 points, no wins this season. They've just sacked their manager. And obviously Spurs, we've been to a Champions League final. We've been in Europe for the last, is it 15 seasons? Something like that?
About that, yeah.
It's last 15 seasons, what?
We've had European football in the last 15 seasons. We've been...
Is that long?
Yeah, 15 seasons of European football.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're not doing bad. For a club that don't spend, we're not doing horrendous.
Well, you got to remember, and the Newcastle fan you've got in the comment, if you've heard me on show as well, I love Newcastle. I love the people. That town, I'm like I said to you, forget who the owners are. I'm so happy for that city. Forget what just pretend that they've just been bought out, because the people of Newcastle, the city of Newcastle, is just like I said, I live in Canada now, and my wife doesn't want to live back in London ever, and neither do I. But if I ever have to come back to England, it's Newcastle where I said I want to live, because I just love that city. It's just incredible. And they're a very, very special set of supporters. When you go to Newcastle or you see Newcastle, their fans are just incredible. So I'm happy for them on that point. But you've got to remember, when it get with Newcastle, where's my drink, Sean? Where's your imaginary? Where's Brendan's? We need a...
Just an imaginary one coming from the door.
How's that trick work? But yeah, if you look at Newcastle, they haven't. I would say Rafa would be the one, but they haven't had a manager that could attract players of the level that Newcastle deserves since, I would say, Sir Bobby Robson. I'm sure your Newcastle fan in the chat could say if there was another one, but Sir Bobby Robson's a legend. And back in Keegan's era, they could get anyone. And obviously, you got to remember with Newcastle, it's a lot harder to sell Newcastle. And I don't mean the club, I mean like for the wives and the families to sell Newcastle than it is to sell London. And the managers, or possibly we've got lucky, but we've always been a bigger name than Newcastle, with no disrespect to Newcastle. And it attracts people. Like when you look at it, like the Jurgen Klinsmanns, and there's players across the world that recognise Tottenham because of they've had some of their superstars. So Newcastle have been so unlucky with their managers, their recruitment. Look at it,
we have as well, though.
Our recruitment is horrific. Like there are some good players that have come through, but the money we could have had, and the money where it could have been spent, is far outweighs it. So yeah.
Aviva, we've got Aviva on the Shan show. How are you doing, Aviva? Thanks for joining us.
Doing really well. Glad to be back on.
It's good to have you on. Just talking about, obviously, the similarities between Mike Ashley's net spend and Enoch's net spend. What are your thoughts on that? My point on this, Aviva, is that, okay, well, if we've got similar net spend, we're clearly at a different level to Newcastle. So it sort of proves it's not what you spend, it's what you spend it on. And I'm a big advocate of, well, we don't really spend it very well, but we've obviously spent it a lot better than Newcastle have. What are your thoughts on it?
Newcastle. Well, yeah. They haven't really been great at spending their money wisely. I mean, I think they have made a few astute signings with Callum Wilson and St. Maximin, but yeah, it's interesting. Whenever someone says Newcastle, I always think back to the fact that we got Sissoko and Liverpool got Wijnaldum. So if you want to talk about good and bad buys, and Newcastle,
I love her.
I'm just going to point that one out. I think that Newcastle have had some class players that some went to the right teams, some did not go to the right teams. But they're definitely not someone who goes and buys up-and-coming players. They're definitely a bargain bin team. And I don't mean like terribly, but I'm just saying, like, Wilson was known for being a goal scorer at Bournemouth. Yedlin, we had Yedlin, and he had, some bad trials like Sunderland in it, whatever. They've never really gone and found someone, St. Maximin maybe being the only exception I can think of, that really was just like homegrown or didn't really start out at another club and flourished there at Newcastle. I challenge anyone any of the listeners or the watchers to name one person in the last 10 years that came from Newcastle and like became a star there, not somewhere else.
So like an academy prospect.
Yeah, or they just let some great players go too early.
Yeah, no, you could be right. Guys, remember it's a dial-in, so if you want to come on and have the debate with us, then Caller has now pinned the link, so it should be easier for you to find it. I'm technically inept, so Caller has done it for us all, guys. Just going to come on to, because we've got a resident Geordie in the comments. He's making some good points. But firstly, Shan, thanks Spurs for getting Brucey out. Spurs totally outplayed us. All the best for the rest of the season. Things can only get better for us, we hope. We certainly hope it doesn't. In the nicest possible way. I feel sorry for Brucey, and I'm probably going to upset our resident Geordie in the comments, but I do feel really sorry for him.
I don't. What do you feel sorry? 23% win percentage.
Raffers was about the same though.
Quid payout. 8 million quid. Got 8 million reasons not to feel sorry for him.
Games, 1,000 pies.
That's a lot of bacon.
Yeah, he could get a lot of bacon and cabbage for that.
The one thing I will say, it's funny you mentioned cabbage, because I was just about to mention his Steve Bruce's own words that he put in the Telegraph, where he's saying, like, I'm happy that my mum and dad aren't alive to hear what my fellow Geordies have been saying and the abuse. And obviously he said, like, this could be my last footballing job after my family are Geordies. He is a Geordie. Now, listen, any guy that has managed Sunderland and then goes to Newcastle, Birmingham and then Aston Villa, you're kind of asking for trouble. You're kind of asking for trouble. It's like, if I ever made it as a footballer into football management and someone offered me the Arsenal job, I'd be like, piss right off. I would not sign for them, play for anything. So you're kind of asking, but when it's your hometown club, and obviously Newcastle has been under Ashley, it's been a poison chalice anyway, that job, anyone that gets the manager's job. But to hear him say those things were really hard to hear. But for footballing reasons, the writing was on the wall.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is tactically inept, but I mean, Newcastle fans, and we've got the resident Geordie in the comments, so if I'd love your view on it as well. Rafa Benitez was lauded like a hero, and their records are very, 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 very similar. So yeah, I mean, Steve Bruce probably didn't help himself at times for some of the things he came out and said in the media, but the media have been trying to sack him for the last 2 years, bless him. Like, that's a big weight to bear when you know the media are constantly going at you, like, how long do you think your job's going to last? Blah, 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 blah. I think that's harsh.
I think every manager has pressure, and yeah, the abuse is disgraceful. I mean, but it's the society we live in these days, and it's not exclusive to Newcastle fans. But it's just the society we live in. He's one of a train of Fergie players that just haven't made it as a manager. None of them have. Mark Hughes, Paul Ince, Wayne Rooney, Gary Neville, Phil Neville. Who else in there? Brian Robson, Jaap Stam. He can't really be seen as a Fergie player. None of them have been.
I didn't even know Jaap Stam had gone into management, Brendan.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I'm not sure which club, but somewhere in Europe. Yeah.
See what it is, Brendan? I think what it is, they're probably all trying to inherit. They all say they take something from a manager, and then when you try and take something from Alex Ferguson or Sir Alex Ferguson, it's going to be you can't replicate it. You haven't got that the hairdryer treatment. You've got to have. You know what I mean? You can't repeat him. He is a one-off, and you can try and take bits and pieces, but you need to try and be yourself, and then adapt some of Alex Ferguson's strategies into you. Not, I'm going to be Alex Ferguson, and it's one big set of shoes to try and fill, and you're never going to replicate it.
Well, football's evolving as well, isn't it? How long ago did Fergie retire? So
2012, 11?
So nearly, well, 10 years ago. So football is changing now. So obviously the methods that he may have used back then won't necessarily work now. I've seen Wayne Rooney linked to the Newcastle job, which would be a disaster.
He might be linked with Man U very soon.
Well, they've come back from 2-0 down, and it's 2-2 now. But I don't know.
2-2.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday with the Goons. You're like, I was enjoying that 2-1, and then the Lacazette bloody scores in the 99th minute or whatever it was.
Yeah,
that should never have gone on for that long either. And then, have you seen the videos of their fans celebrating? It was embarrassing. It's a bit.
It's hilarious.
It's as embarrassing as West Ham releasing a documentary about the 3-3 like a year ago at White Hart Lane. Aviva, have you seen that?
They've released a documentary.
It was like a little documentary video on Twitter that they released, and it was like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then the date of the game, and then it was like zooming in on the stadium, and then it was a nice watch. And they've listed winning the Intertoto Cup as an achievement on their website as well.
As long as we don't mention winning the Audi Cup, that's fine.
European Cups. European Cup wins, and then they've got the Intertoto Cup underneath
in like small italics.
Yeah.
No,
that's just it.
It should be. If it's not in small italics, then that's really hilarious.
Oh,
it's honestly. Like a cup.
Actually, I don't say too much about West Ham because, funny enough, we've got them on Sunday, and let's just hope and pray.
Hope and pray for what?
I think
a win.
Scored.
Look. Ben Rama and Antonio have not been doing much. They had a great start to the season, but really, like, it's interesting on fantasy football. If you go look at like the fixture ticker, it like color codes things by level of difficulty.
Ronaldo.
And I think West Ham is listed as like a red, which is considered hard. And I don't think so. It used to be like that. They were always a bright green, like easy. I don't think they're not, they don't seem to be really performing, scoring the goals they were the first few games. So I think we could take them.
Cool.
Honestly.
You know your tactics, Aviva. You know your stuff. So I'm going to be using that in the pod tomorrow for the preview.
Yeah, but also it's Tottenham. It's Tottenham, but West Ham. This is their cup final. This is their cup finals. So players, and I heard your partner say something, and I've just checked it. And I'm not happy.
Ronaldo's just scored. Yeah, it's 3-2.
Ollie's at the wheel.
I have to say, when I was watching the Man U Leicester game last weekend, and I have a mate who's a Man U fan, so I texted him like, "Oh, quite a game, isn't it?" Wink, wink. And he goes, "Oh, you mean the game when Spurs lose to Newcastle?" I didn't respond. I saw him the following day out, and I walked up to him after the game the game had already happened. I'm like, "So yeah, that game, you were right, but you got the prediction wrong." And he just goes, "Sod off." So, I think a lot of teams think they can beat us, or that we'll be beaten by other teams. But, anything can happen in this league.
I'm looking forward to the game. It's been a long time since I said that about Spurs games, but we're playing well. And last season, for example, we lost to West Ham away and Bale came on, I think, and scored. The game was gone. I kind of was expecting us to lose that game, so I wasn't looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to the games now. I think that we are. I'm not saying we've turned a corner, but I'm just saying that we are playing. We're looking like we're enjoying our football, and it's been a long time since we've done that. Even under Jose, even the Man U win as well. It wasn't Tottenham. It wasn't us. This counter-attacking. It's not us, and so. I think that I'm looking forward to the game against the Hammers, and we'll give them a game. And like Aviva says, I think we can beat them man for man. We're better than they are. They've got Declan Rice. Fair enough. He'll leave at the end of the season. Their defence, they've recruited well. The two Czech guys, Souček and
Kufal.
They're Czech, not Croatian, aren't they? They've been great signings, but yeah. we're better than they are. And I'd love it to do it at the Olympic Stadium, and we can.
All I want to see is Antonio miss a penalty and Romero run past him and do what he did for Argentina, because that would be absolute shithouse, and he would go down as an absolute legend in my eyes if he did that. It probably won't happen, but I'd love it if it did. Yeah.
I think as well the key is, again, I said after the Newcastle game, I think our four key players really, and I mean for the balance of the squad, not as in importance like a Kane, is Romero, Skip, Højbjerg, Lucas. That little four, I mean, it looks like the two, like you said, Brendan, the last couple of games we played, all right, we conceded 2 against Newcastle, 1 a freak goal, and 1 against Villa, but Romero seems to be, the defences look more organised. Both the fullbacks in both those games have had good games. You've just seen the 2 games that Skip was out, the Arsenal and Chelsea, when he came on in the second half. He is such a big piece of this formation, and it's just gone to show that Dele Alli isn't. Højbjerg has been more creative and been able to do a bit more defensively as well. And Lucas Moura, I just love that dude. His work rate, and obviously we've got a Brazil Spur here. His work rate, and he may not always have the greatest finish, but he will always put in 120%. I've never seen a guy with his height have such a leap for headers. Because you got to remember, he hit the bar as well. He did it against Man City last season as well, or a couple of seasons ago when we drew 2-2. Yeah. I think those 4 are vital, and it'll be intriguing to see. I mean, Alistair Gold, or was it We Are Tottenham TV, said apparently this morning none of the outfield players were training today because apparently they're doing pre-match for tomorrow, and that they'll stay behind, hopefully, because I think he's just got to keep that 11 fit.
Yeah, the 11 that played, they've stayed at Hotspur Way. They've not travelled.
Exactly. So as I said, with Harry Kane, it looked much more like Harry Kane on Sunday, without a doubt. But it's because we started playing him in a 1. He does not fit a 3, in my opinion, and it's shown his performance on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. He likes to be the main man up top, don't he? I think the 3 was too narrow, and he just kept bumping it like. He just weren't in the right places at the right times. It was an absolute nightmare. But guys, remember, if you've got an opinion you want to discuss, it is a dial in. The link is pinned to the chat. So get on, come and discuss anything. Nothing is off limits. I'm even going to ask a question that might send Brian into meltdown right now.
Oh, God.
Brian, if we win a trophy and get top 4 this season, how
Levy
much
out.
credit? How much credit does Daniel Levy get?
Absolutely none.
Wait,
Absolutely
you
none.
have to caveat: is he chairman when this success happens?
Yeah.
We listen. So you're saying we get the say that again. We get top 4.
So we get top 4. We win a trophy. How much credit does Daniel Levy get for that?
Absolutely none.
So it's his fault when we don't win a trophy, but it's not down to him when we do.
The reason I say that, Brendan, and I'll go into the reason is I have said, and I have this with a friend every summer transfer window. He's now changed and is Levy out, but it took him a hell of a lot. I can't remember; it was only a year or 2 ago. But I say, I've always said this, and he keeps saying, "But I'll tell you what, I'll give you my opinion after the summer window, and we'll have a review." And every single time, it's like, "Oh, he's done it. He's proved it." But I'm going to carry on giving faith. If we'd had some of the players come in that we definitely were going for, like let's say, I'm only going to pick a couple because we know a lot of them are hot air. Let's just say a Milinkovic to come and help Rodon in defence, and I'm not talking superstar buys, and another attacking midfielder, which is the blatant areas that we need. If we'd address those areas and then get on to gut that, I may have said, do you know what? Fair play. I'm still Levy out, but you've helped us where we needed the help. But again, this has got, for me, like we were just saying now, for what I think we've got to do up until January at least, is keep this 11 fit and keep playing and not risk them in the Conference League, not risk them in the Carabao Cup, because if we're going to get top 4, which I doubt, I've already said 6th or 5th I would consider a good season, we've got to keep that 11 fit. And somehow that comes down to the manager having to rotate and use the players that we have. Don't get me wrong, if we go out in January and sign the attacking midfielder, and let's just say for shits and giggles, Vlahovic, then I'll be like, do you know what? Well done. You've gone this window, you've got to address what we needed. So for that, I will give you the credit. But right now, the only reason I say I won't give him any credit is because once again, every platform talks about this. We haven't replaced the original Dembele. We haven't replaced Eriksen. We haven't replaced what you want to say, Vertonghen or Alderweireld, because obviously we have with one for Romero.
We've replaced Alderweireld with Romero.
Okay, so we haven't replaced Vertonghen. You know what I mean? Either way you want to look at either one of those two. It's just the same old thing. And obviously we've got to these semi-finals and finals before. And this is something I said on your show last week, Sean, remember? The reason I don't give them credit for it, or wouldn't, is because in all the jobs that anyone does, if you don't hit your targets and you're set, let's say, at managerial level or at the elite level that these players are at, you get fired. We reward them with contracts rather than getting rid of them and buying the players needed to get us over that line. So I think if we do get the trophy and a top 4, I will give full credit to Nuno. If it's the team we currently have now.
But Daniel Levy's given Nuno the team, and to be fair, did bring in some reinforcements.
He hasn't given him the team he wanted. Let's be serious, Sean. Let's be serious. There's players Nuno wanted, whether we wanted them or not.
Nuno doesn't pick the players. Paratici does.
Yeah, but Paratici will talk to. Listen, when they said they wanted Traore, whether it was a rumour or not, that's not Paratici. That is Nuno saying to Paratici, "I want him." There is no way Paratici has said, with his wealth of knowledge, I want these players that you had at Wolves. For me, it's just not possible. I keep bringing it back now. I'm not saying we should have signed him. Tomiyasu, the haggling over 2 million. And apparently that there's rumours this didn't happen, A, the Olympics, or B, because they saw Tanganga have his great debut against Man City, and then they thought, oh, wait a minute, we don't need it because we've got Aurier and Doherty, and one of them will get out the door. That, for me, is where you want to have such strength in depth that there is that competition. Not, okay, we found someone that had one good performance and we got 2 players that aren't good enough that can play if they're not having a good game. That's to me, not how.
But we went
that
and
should
signed
work.
Emerson, who's doing
Yeah,
well.
but
He's proven to be
decent.
a signing.
No, don't listen. Emerson has had the last couple of games. I was at the Villa game. He was outstanding. He was outstanding. In his first game, listen, we can't really fault him against Palace because he came in and then we all know what happened at Palace. And it's his debut. And you're against Louis Saha. Let's face it. On your to have him on your first day. Sorry, what am I doing? I'm going back to Ryan Nelson. I'm going back to those days. So we got to judge him over time. And again, we went and signed a player.
But that's the same with Tommy Asu, isn't it? Because
no.
Paratici obviously decided he didn't want Tommy Asu and he wanted Emerson instead. We've
Correct.
still signed a right back, and the right back we've signed seems to fit our system better than what potentially Tommy Asu may have, because Tommy Asu is very, very similar to Jaffet, who we already have.
Yeah, defensive.
That part I agree with. What I'm getting at is the haggling over the price. That's the part, if that was, or because, okay, Jaffet had one good game. For me, there should be I love Galini's coming. I think the way that deal has been structured, which is Paratici, has been one of the best bits of business we do. Not because Galini's going to be this quality keeper, which I think he will be, but Hugo's contract goes up at the end of the summer. And the way this deal has been created means that even if Hugo does go, there's a goalkeeper there. If we didn't have a goalkeeper and we were trying to buy a goalkeeper, everyone in the world knows we need a goalkeeper and they're going to whack the prices up. That piece of business is phenomenal, the way it's been done. But I said the reason, going back to the original question, that I said I wouldn't give him any credit is just because this is going to be down to game management from the manager if the squad stays as it is right now. If we did well in January and bought some players, then I may change my mind. But right now, if it was this squad, I would say that Nuno deserves all the credit.
Aviva, what's your thoughts on it?
I mean,
I don't bite your head off if you disagree with me.
No, I'm just
I don't bite.
trying to process everything you've just said. I can't remember it.
It does take a lot sometimes
the
to
original
process
question,
a stable
would I
round.
give Daniel Levy any credit? Is that still the original question?
Yeah, so if we get top four and win a trophy, how much credit does Daniel Levy get?
He gets to lift it at one point. I'm sure. I think that had the trophy come sooner, he's had the time, I would be more inclined to give him more proactive credit. But because he has been so inactive in periods that we've needed him to be, it just the fact that we spent all this money recently and he gave none of it to Poch when Poch wanted it to give depth to the team still baffles my mind, because we had a beautiful starting 11 then. We just needed depth. We needed backup. And so to say no, I'm not giving you the money. Oh, but I'll give this other guy the money. It just makes no sense to me. You either have the money, then spend it. So I wouldn't give him that much credit. I would give him credit for eventually finding a manager or sticking around to do this, because regardless, we got very close with Poch and it just didn't work. I'm not saying that's Poch's fault, but you need things to be meant to be, and I guess that wasn't meant to be. So, I mean, I'm sure he's put up Levy with a lot of us, yelling at him. So props to him for, persevering through it. But I think personally, in my opinion, when a team wins a trophy, the credit goes to the players and the coaching staff. The management and the owners are just there to be like, hey, I'm here too. I own you. Yay. They've done nothing. They haven't run a single mile. Do you know what I mean? They've been sitting behind a desk. They haven't been getting stuck in the way that the players actually do.
But it's down to the board and the management to sign the players.
I said I loved that before.
But
I absolutely idolize her now.
But I'm saying, regardless of that, even when they didn't sign players, we still did amazingly well with no extra players. So in that situation, we kind of saved his ass in terms of just how he's viewed, because he gave us no money and we still pulled it out somehow to do pretty well. So that part just.
Did we lose her there?
Yeah, she's just gone on mute. But Colin, welcome. Bren, I just want your view, and then we'll go to Colin. And then I'm going to come to the resident Geordie in the comments. Recent comment, because that is absolutely preposterous. But we'll come to that. But yeah, Bren, what's your thought?
Yeah, I kind of what the question is kind of like, well, when we don't win trophies for 20 years or one in 20 years, it's all Levy's fault. But if we do win, then it's definitely not thanks to him. I think there's got to be a bit of give and take. So you have three elements. You have the playing staff, you have the management, you have the board. So all things being equal, they'd all get 33% of the support of the, what was it, the question again? The how much?
The credit.
Credit, thank you. But all things aren't equal. Levy didn't invest over 3 windows, so we have to take away from him there. He did sack Jose a week before a cup final, which was a chance for us to win a trophy. So we have to take some away from there. But then on the players as well, we have to take some away there. Like Harry Kane doesn't turn up. He's been to 4 finals now, 3, and hasn't turned up.
Tottenham, one with England, yeah.
One with England, yeah, and hasn't turned up. So the players take some there as well. So it's we kind of I understand the frustrations. We're all frustrated with the lack of investment and the poor investment at times when we have invested. It's not been the best deals, but I still think we have to give some credit. If we do get top 4, if we do get a trophy, then some credit has to go to the board for the decisions they've made, the changes that they've made in terms of the structure of the club, with Paratici coming in, choosing a manager that delivered us a trophy for the first time since Juan de Ramos. So again, some credit has to go there, but let's go and say hello to Colin, who's just joined.
Hello.
Talkable Colin, welcome to our... It does feel a bit like counselling. It's definitely a surgery where we're just getting it all out.
Well,
So tell me your thoughts. I'm guessing you joined because we were talking about Daniel Levy trophies and top 4, which all go
everybody's
perfectly
favorite
together,
guy.
obviously.
Yeah. Who doesn't love some Daniel Levy talk? I was actually going to ask Brian if you would consider being Daniel Levy for Halloween.
Mate,
Have to shave the beard.
You could not pay me. You could not pay. I've had some crazy bets where thankfully I've won and they haven't come through, where they've asked me that I'm going to have to do, like when we were doing the 2 Bryans, where everything was Levy orientated if I lost, and thankfully I won every time. So it hasn't come. Listen, I thought you were going to say, could you be in the same room as Levy? I was about to say, yeah, 100% I can do that. Dress up as Levy? No.
Maybe there's somebody else we could get to do it. I'm thinking it could be pretty funny. But no, I mean, does he deserve any credit if we get top 4 or win a trophy this season? I mean, it's hard to say no exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of echoing what you guys have already said. Like, it's hard to give him no credit, but how much credit is the real question. I mean,
just a little bit. I mean, most of the credit will go to the players and the manager.
Yeah.
And without Daniel Levy recruiting those people,
right? Without Daniel Levy recruiting I still wonder, and we'll never really know how much of player recruitment and final. I mean, like, I'm sure he's got final say on. Yeah, everyone like the video, please, guys. Please like it.
We're talking about top 4 trophies and Levy. What is not to like? I mean, there
must be some gooners in the chat watching us. But we've not ever gone under. We've not ever been relegated. We are in better positions in the league relative to when he came in. So do we give credit there? Like, that's the only thing that you know what I mean? He's invested some. We've uncovered some gems. But I still, you don't know how much. We'll never know how much is actually down to Daniel Levy or is down to whoever is, head of recruitment or director of football or whatever at the time. Like, we'll never really know.
I mean, the alternative could be this, which I'm sure none of us want.
No, but what you should do is look at the comment above it, because Cody just speaks fluent Bry and can just put what I'm trying to say into, like, within the characters of YouTube. And this is true as well. Look at his tenure.
Well, we've never been a big trophy team, to be honest. Like over the 80s, we got 2 trophies, I think. 90s was 2. So I kind of, yes, we're probably 2 trophies down or 3 trophies down on that. But again, we've got to the finals. So I'm not saying that it's been a great tenure under Levy. I'm just saying that historically, before he arrived, the lack of trophies isn't just a new thing with us. Sorry to interrupt.
I think the best way to describe it, Sean, with people is if people that watch EastEnders remember the Mitchell brothers, I'm Grant, who's just a psychopath who'll have a fight or talk Levy and trash him at the very, very mention of his name. And there's other people that have other views, like Brendan, like everyone else, just like the Phil Mitchell, that can think about it and be the mastermind and 10 strokes ahead and think a lot deeper. So, Brett, what you were saying, I can kind of agree with. But yeah, I still hate him and want him out and blame him for everything. Tomorrow is Thursday. It's Levy's fault.
Fair. Hey,
coming to what Cody said here, how much credit do we give him for the 2008 Carling Cup? We finished 11th that season. Okay, so what do you want? Would you rather finish top 4, top 6, get Europe every season for 15 successive seasons, or win a League Cup? What would you rather?
Win a League Cup.
Really?
Win a trophy. Yeah. I'm old school. I want trophies. I'm in a football. I'm an old school where winning trophies. You got to remember, and I don't just say this as a fan. The players all love to show this is what I did for my career. Here's the medals I won. This is like the League Cup. I mean, still to me, and I'm sure, Brendan, you're roughly the same age as me, 42.
I'm 39, but I was at the final in 99.
Okay, so you still grew up at a time where the FA Cup, when we were growing up as teenagers, was like the most magic, and it still is to me. It still is a magical cup. And if you said we were to win the League Cup or FA Cup for the next 5 years straight, one of the two, not saying the same one each year, but for the next 5 years, or get top 4 for the next 5 years, I'll take the trophies every single time.
Put like that, yeah. Yeah. But then Arsenal did that. They won like 5 FA Cups in a row or some stupid thing like that. So, but yeah, like if it's that, then yeah, then I'll take it. If it's one, if it's the Europa Conference League or top 4, I'm taking top 4 over the Conference League. I'm sorry, that's to me it's the Intertoto Cup, just rebranded, and it's the first time as well. We'll get laughed at if we win it, and we'll get laughed at if we go out.
God, exactly what I've been saying. We are screwed either way.
To be fair, I'd rather be laughed at for winning it than laughed at for going out.
Probably, it's just got a plastic trophy coming up. They can't even think of a new theme song. It's the same music as the Europa League. Star Wars is our one, but it's just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of new cups. It's like the Europa Nations League as well. That's just been launched.
Yeah.
And I hate the way that teams drop down from you know what I mean. The Europa League teams are dropping down into the conference. Like I don't know, that whole, even in the Europa League, that bothered me when like the reject teams of the Champions League would then fall down into the. It's like, where does it end? You know, it's just that's all kind of dumb. But if we win it, I'm happy though. Like I'll be happy if we win it and then get Europa League next season and then do it all the hard way. Get in the Champions League that way.
So I want to come to this because this actually offended my eyes. They were burning a little bit when I read this. Kane and Son to Newcastle in January.
The Saudis buying our club too? Is that just how they're going to do it? They probably just have to buy Tottenham at that point.
The only way Kane and Son would be going to Newcastle we've already played them away. Kane and Son ain't going anywhere near Newcastle in this season.
We're only doing it
if they buy if the whatever investment fund buys Tottenham like completely, then they might go. But
no, Son won't leave.
No, Son will never leave.
It's just
Son
his contract.
He's like 60.
No,
he'll still be running up the left. He'll be with his Zimmer running up and down the left.
He'll either retire at the club and become like an ambassador. I have a feeling he'll be like Ledley because at his age, he's not going to go. He could, in theory, go to one more bigger club, right? But even if he does, I feel like the majority and the bulk of his great years as a player are going to be and have been so far at Spurs. And as a player, I can't imagine. Like you might go to start at like other clubs and end at other clubs, but the club that you spend like the bulk of your time at is probably the one that's going to mean the most to you.
Yeah, and I mean he signed a new contract and said he has no intention of ever leaving, didn't he? So I think Son's locked in. I mean,
well, ever since Leverkusen didn't let him go to the Olympics, was it? I don't remember the tournament that would have got him
The Olympics.
Yeah, ever since he wasn't allowed to go, and then we did allow him to go, kind of at our own detriment. You know, we let him go and during the season and potentially get injured, and then he was. I think that military exemption and the fact that we were willing to do that for him means a lot. I think that he's kind of trying to repay. You know, not. I know that sounds bad. He doesn't have to repay us for that, but I kind of feel like that's the kind of guy he is, and that he's doing that with his loyalty.
he has good morals.
Love him.
Definitely. You don't get many like Sonny.
No, and
The
I
boy-
think he's helping. Sorry to interrupt. That was terrible. I think he's helping Tanji to integrate into the squad. I don't know if you've noticed. They seem very like chummy, and I love that more.
Everyone
than
is close with Sonny.
But
everyone.
But if you were going to be close with somebody, like, and you're going to have a buddy, who better than Son? Because while he's nice and fun and always having a good time, he takes everything very seriously. He football isn't a joke to him, even though he can joke while doing it. And I hope that mentality can kind of rub off maybe onto Tanji, because we've all seen what he can do if he can just apply himself. He's like that smart kid, and you're like, apply yourself, just try harder. And
Well, I think Son has experience coming from his home, a home country, going to another country. In this case, it was Germany as a young player, having to adapt to culture, to language, which he's done. He's like fluent in German, and playing style. So when players have come into the club who are struggling with that, Tanguy coming to a new country with a new culture, and Tanguy even talked about it in the Amazon documentary about it. Like, it's hard. So I can imagine that Sonny is like more akin to taking them under his wing and saying, yeah, it's hard. It was hard for me too. Definitely not like what Daniel Levy tried to do when he tried to commiserate with Tanguy, if we all remember that.
When I was
don't think
16,
no.
When I was 16, so I think players are appreciating that because they've seen, like, I can come from a completely different country and a different language and do well. And they see what the quality of a player and person Son is. So I think that's really encouraging for players, prospective players especially, who Spurs are looking at.
Absolutely. And
Sorry, I'm so happy because someone said the Sun documentary, and I forgot we couldn't get it in Canada. And I've got Amazon
Sensational.
Prime, and I've just checked on Amazon, and I've got it here now. So guess what? That's my nighttime viewing sorted.
yeah, it's very good. It's very good viewing. Sensational, guys. In the comments, if you haven't watched it, it gives a really good insight into Sonny's life, who he is as a man, his relationship with his dad, everything. It's great. It gave me a whole.
Is it in Korean or English?
It's in English.
Okay.
It gives you a whole new respect for Sonny as a person, I think. As if we couldn't love him enough already.
Right, I was going to say, yeah, he's
It
already.
looks like we got some Korean viewers in the chat, and if anyone doesn't know, I actually speak Korean. Fun fact. So
Wow. Say something in Korean.
Let's see.
Say hello.
Ikong Juno are saying good morning. So, 안녕하세요. Yeah, I just want to just say I got into learn Korean before Son even signed for Spurs, so it wasn't like a bandwagon thing.
I had a Korean
think it is, it's
exchange
not.
student live with me during high school, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
His name was Jadu. Jadu, if you're watching this, I know you're not,
Yeah.
but nice to see you, friend.
I mean, Bob, this has got to be the most random super chat I think I've ever had. Why does Dier have a squashed face and head?
I don't know. Ask Harry Maguire why he has one.
Genetics.
I really had the £2 super chat with the answer to that joke.
Yeah, it does sound like a joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
I
heading
think
up.
Dier's quite a handsome man.
Yeah,
I think he looks
I like his hair.
Bernard
I like his
Hopkins.
haircut
He
that
looks
he's
very
rocking. What
typical
do you
British.
call that haircut? And how do I ask for one? I'm like, it's real short on the sides, but I don't know. I was taking a picture. I guess that's tough.
Is it because of the own goal he scored? Because his face was squashed, he couldn't see where the ball was, and then it hits his knee and goes in. Is that it? I don't know, but yeah, I think he's
I have to say
decent.
that own goal. It's a freak of nature. I don't understand how you go for a header, miss the header, and I don't even understand if we were training and we were in the park doing that. I don't think I could do that if I tried 100 times.
But
No.
Eric Dyer can.
in one.
Hey, Bob and I
Eric
both said the
Dyer is
score
a
was going to
special
be
guy.
4-1, and if you think about it, Spurs did score 4 goals, Newcastle scored 1. So, Bob, we did it, man. We were right. We were just, Spurs scored 4.
I'd rather he had
Bob-
a squashed head than bring back the curtain haircut. So.
I mean, he definitely don't have a squashed head.
Anything
Dier
but
has
that.
got one of the biggest heads I've ever seen. Minus
Harry Maguire.
Maguire.
Hello?
Harry Maguire definitely has a bigger head. But
Yeah.
His
Dier's
song is
close.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire
Love
has
it.
the best song. I love that song for him. You must have all heard the song.
I've never, no.
I
Give us a rendition,
Reminder?
Brian. I know you love to sing.
Oh my God, I do love to sing this one, but it's one of those that you get in your head. And this is what the Leicester fans sang to him. This is what the England fans sang to him. And what the United says basically, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire. He drinks a vodka, he drinks a Jaeger. His head's fucking massive. Harry Maguire. That is his actual song.
Oh, it's La Bamba.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that is
rhyme.
his
though.
actual song.
Does he
Now-
have
now
a
it's gonna be in
reputation,
your
I
head.
guess, for going out and having a little bit to drink? or what?
After they're getting arrested in Greece.
Oh, getting us in Greece. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right.
So that is his song.
I bet it takes him a couple. He's a big dude.
Oh, mate, it's when you said a big head as well. That song will now be in your head. I guarantee you, by the end of the night, you'll try and sing that song.
I'll be in class later singing it. Thanks. My classmates will be like, "What's your problem, man?"
Well, blame Sean. He asked for a rendition, so this is all on Sean.
They're gonna think
Listen-
I'm like a autistic person. Like just talk like, yeah, my friends, my internet friends, sang this song and can't stop.
I mean, that was something special. And if anyone has anything that they want to get off their chest, then the link is in the comments. It is pinned courtesy of the caller because I am inept at StreamYard. I don't know how it works. So you're just about lucky that I managed to get the stream live. That's basically all I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, Harry Kane.
Yep. That's a great
Harry.
way to start. That's his season so far. Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, one of our own.
Yes, he is.
One of our own, Harry Kane. One of our own, Mr. Harold Kane.
Is his full name Harold? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is,
That's
but
not.
he's behaving like
I'm not
a
letting him
Harold.
share a name with my father. No, what happened?
He's behaving like a Harold. Like when he's naughty, I can imagine he gets called Harold. So, yeah,
It's not Harry. It's Ari.
Harry.
Ari.
It's weird how
Harry.
sometimes you guys over there in England, you don't say the H, and then other times whenever you do say the H, it's like really H. Like
I'm
like there's
Harry.
airy, and then there's also HG.
because you don't say H is not a letter in England. H is a letter in England.
That's so cool and
What?
also strange to me.
Colin,
I
let
mean,
me as Americans, let me just say this for a second.
Yeah.
When you like different kinds of we say herbs, don't we, in America?
and yeah, herbs.
They say herbs because there's an H in it. So we're not ones to talk.
No, you're right. You're right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
herb.
In
Yeah,
America,
no, that's what my wife. Honestly,
herbs
I
in
live-
America are
that's
pronounced
what they say.
herbs.
that's what my wife says when or Canadians say as well. Obviously, it's North America when I'm in Toronto. My wife, I go somewhere. They go, "Do you want lemon and herb?" Or what? I'm like, "Beg your pardon?"
Herb.
And they're like,
I
"Lemon
know.
and herb."
I know it's
and I'm
herb.
like,
In America, it's herb.
When I heard you
Yeah,
like,
it's-
in the
why.
cheese room, HG, and I'm like, oh,
He
okay,
is HG, yeah.
HG.
HG.
But the H thing is just a dialect thing. I mean, it depends where you live. There's parts of England that overpronounce the H's, and there's mostly in London, like that just don't
H.
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 Interesting. Very cool. See, I'm having like a little lesson here. It's nice, and I appreciate you guys for not like being mad or I'm just ignorant and I just don't know things. So I'm learning, and it's nice. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
like the cheese room.
the Cheese. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
well, no, because it's a CH. See, I did it there, H.
But see, if you're doing by Jewish pronunciation, it would be cheese.
Oh my God, my God. Are you Jewish, Aviva?
Yeah.
Love
my name
Highlight,
is Hebrew,
one of my own. Love this girl.
Didn't know
Love,
that
love,
is he? Yeah.
She's also named after Joe Lewis's yacht, which I'm sure you also
No,
love.
the yacht is named after me.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
He named it that because he named it after the month of spring, which is what I'm named after as well. In Hebrew, spring is Aviv. But they also named in Glasgow? They also named the big stadium after me. So
It's in Dublin, unless there's more.
no, it's in Dublin. Dublin. I'm sorry, Dublin.
Yeah, Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Yeah, I sent you pictures, so you remember. Look,
insurance company.
Yeah,
Aviva.
Insurance company. Yeah. And it's like you can rely on Aviva or something like that. So just taking pictures, spend the whole game taking pictures of the ad hoardings around the stadium rather than watch Ireland beat Bulgaria.
No, I definitely.
Anyway, back onto H, our very own Harold. Yeah, he's had a bit of a mixed bag this season. I mean, he's still scored 10 goals and he's been poor. Like, let's not beat around the bush. He's been poor this season. But could Newcastle be the switch that's gone off inside Mr. Harold Kane's brain? Bren, what do you think?
His name isn't Harold, I just checked.
When he's naughty, it's Harold. But yeah, when has a switch gone off now, Bren? I mean, he's given everyone a 7-game head start for golden boot. So
we hope so. I hope so. We all want him to start banging him in. You're right. His body language has been awful. His running hasn't been there. So that's why the goal against Newcastle was such a good one, because he was running in behind, which he hasn't been doing. He's been even since last season.
Well.
He was always dropping deep. It was what you want to see. It was what you want to see. And he didn't even look. He knew where the goal was and just nonchalantly lobbed Darlow. So yeah, you hope so, but we just want more of the same. You know what I mean? Like he's tarnished. It's not going to be the same. Sonny is the love of my life, Tottenham wise. I know Højbjerg is yours. He's got to keep delivering because it's in his interest as well. If he wants to go to City or to wherever, he can't have an off season. He can't just give up and just go through the motions and try and not get injured. He's got to play. He's got to play and he's got to start scoring, because it's if he wants to get that the record from Shearer, he's got to keep banging him in. So yes, it was encouraging, his performance against Newcastle, but he's just got to keep it up.
Yeah. Hopefully we see him score an absolute worldie against the Scummers, so also known as West Ham, which I am dreading that game, still dreading it because it's Spurs. I feel confident, but I'm feel scared at the same time.
Get excited! I'm excited for the game. Come on,
don't be a Spurs fan and be positive.
Yeah.
Right,
Brian, your thoughts on Mr. H. Kane?
So I've been very, very, very critical of him all season, and especially seeing that I was at the Villa and Chelsea game. I mean, you were at the Chelsea game, Shan, and I thought on the day of Jimmy Greaves passing, and it being Chelsea, I thought Harry Kane would need no more motivation than to have a proper performance to honour the man he's trying to record he's trying to take place of. But he was just shocking, and Harry Kane, we know, is not blessed for pace. He's not been running on, but I've always seen him putting in effort. I've always seen him, like Brendan just said, his body language, his little dashes, his availability to help the team, and it just wasn't there. And the worst thing was his passing. Now we all know Harry Kane has got a tremendous range of passing, and it was woeful. It was woeful, that performance. And then Villa was just shambolic, and it was mainly Danny Kiriakou and I started doing like player cam on him, and he just wasn't busting the gut to get anywhere. You could just see he was not switched on, and I was getting fed up of him. But Newcastle, something must have happened, whether it was the Aston Villa game where he really was bad, or after the bad England performance. I don't know if something's happened where it's just gone, right, do you know what? Or maybe he's finally reached the fitness level that we need him. But what I think the biggest thing is we played him in a 1. When you play the blessed striker who plays as a number like up by himself in the world, and you do that, he'll get more involved. Some of his passing in the second half, like that little reverse ball, then when he got hacked down on the halfway line when Lloris booted it out and he judged the back, Harry Kane wasn't doing that 3 weeks ago. His timing for the run, again, as Brendan said, it wasn't just the finish. He curved his run to perfection. And I think that was the performance. We all get so mad because we know that's what he's capable of. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think he had an outstanding game, But I think he did more in that game than he's done all season, apart from the Conference League games where he should be doing what he's doing.
Mm.
If we can keep playing him as a 1 and keep him fit, that is what we'll get. And I think that is what we will see. But if any of us were a manager, I would seriously think if you were told, right, you're going to this team, especially if you're going from a team like Wolves, and you're like, you have got the best striker in the league who plays as a 1, if not Europe, if not the world, you're going to play him up top by himself. You don't try and you're like, right, I need to find a solution to keep him up top. I think he was out. I think he had a very, very good game, but I'm not back. Oh, Kane's back, like people are saying. He's now got to show this. And I don't mean scoring every game, but I mean that work rate, that passion, that desire. Goals obviously will come with him, but he's got to show that he's ready. And as for the West Ham game, listen, put it this way, I'm a lot more confident going into it knowing that all 10 players that were playing on Sunday have stayed at home. I don't get. I like what Nuno's doing. Why send them out to Holland? All right, it's a short flight. Keep them on the bench for 90 minutes, then travel home when they could just stay at Hotspur way and do what they got to do and be ready for the Premier League. So very, very happy to see Kane back, and a lot more confident for West Ham.
One thing as well, going on to you, Aviva, is the fact that the team is playing further up the pitch as well, which means that the play is more around Harry, that he's not as isolated as he has been probably under Jose Ball and in some games this season when we have been playing more counter. I think, as Brian said earlier, Skip is a huge part of that because I think the fullbacks feel a lot more confident to push forward, knowing that Skip's there holding and covering. Højbjerg as well himself is moving forward. We saw him with his assist at the weekend against Newcastle. So Aviva, I think that the fact that our play is in that part of the pitch is one of the reasons why Harry's form is returning.
Absolutely. I think we've always been talking about our midfield and once Dembele left, having to pick up the pieces and try to reform them to be just as productive and quality. So I think it obviously we were able to do well in some regards with Sissoko and Winks and the combination of other players for a while, but I think it petered out. And I think that I will give credit for, finally getting Skip the playing time he needed to have a starting role permanently. And then also, bring in Højbjerg, because I think he was always quality when I watched him at Southampton. And then finally finding that right combination that we need both these players, not just one and then a combination of Ndombele and Lo Celso. No, we need both of them. They need to be the double pivot, or they should. And I think that I'm very glad to see, especially, you see with Skip that Spurs continue to really take advantage and identify quality academy talent and want to bring them in. And you see that when we purposely sent him out to Norwich, he did very well and brought him back. Because in the past, a big part of our success has been from those players. Kane, Mason, Mason. A lot of our mainstays have been local lads. So I think it's essential. And, again, speaking of that, Scarlett down the line, hopefully in the future will be another one of those. But I think it's really because of that midfield that Kane is starting to really be able to come back into his old form.
Speaking of local lads that really, really are the mainstays of the team, Harold Winks.
My dad is Harold, so every time you say these, it makes me cringe.
Harry Winks. I
He'll play
mean,
tomorrow, won't he? He's going to play. Oh, it's going to be such a shit game.
And he's gonna strut out there like he's the best player in the whole world too. The thing that bothers me, and I mean, you have to have an ego to play at the highest level. You have to, but like, it bothers me when people have a really big ego but then don't properly back it up. And I feel like he's one of those people. His ego seems kind of big, but that could just be me misreading the guy. I've never met him. We haven't really hung out. But and just like the little training videos, like I always reference it, but there's this like really recent Spurs first touch video, and it's
was that with Galini, who's a goalkeeper, and Brian, who's 20,
and he's just like, yeah, I'm dominating you guys, like you suck. See how good I am? And I'm like, hey man.
He can hit a tea bag into a cup though. That's pretty impressive.
I can't do
That's
that.
when it all went downhill after that video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the highlight of his career is whacking a tea bag into a cup. Like, he's just he's not even doing the basics. Like you kind of would expect him to sort of like passing sideways and like we make those jokes, but his concentration's just not there. His tracking.
I think that he
isn't there.
thinks that he's elite, and so he doesn't have to, like track back, and he doesn't have to, he's like, I'm the creator. I'm just gonna sit here and dictate, but he's not. If he was doing that, that's a whole different thing.
Create then.
Yeah, right. It's like you're either like the luxury player that he's trying to be, or you're not, and you have to, follow instructions and play as a unit and do your bit part, and he's not doing that part well, and so
I'm going to come to Aviva because Dave Bolton of the Cheese Room has a question, and I know she's got to shoot. So, Aviva, what time are you picking up the parking pass before the Revs game?
Okay, so let me explain the context. Thanks, Dave. So Dave lives in the same town as me right now.
Boston.
I'm debating if I'm gonna go or not, Dave, because it will be a crazy. I'm getting over laryngitis, and I'll be screaming a lot if I go. So the Revs means the Revolution, New England Revolution, which is my other diehard team. It's an MLS team who I've supported since they first started. They're the team in New England and Boston. And for the Spurs connection, there is that they were the team that signed in the draft a college-age Clint Dempsey, gave him his first start in professional football, and from there he went on to Fulham. We also the manager before the current one was Brad Friedel, we've also the current manager who right now we're the best team in the entire league, not just our conference, the entire league. We finally have a combination of great players, great manager. The manager in his time has coached Keane, Yedlin, Friedel, Keller, Dempsey in the men's national team. So a lot of Spurs connections. But yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be going, Dave. Sorry, because there's a Red Sox game happening at the same time, so it will be crazy.
At Fenway Park.
Can
you say Fenway Park? Can you say Fenway Park in a Boston accent?
First, well, Fenway Park.
That's it.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, better than me.
Yeah, I have no idea if Viva's holding it. Okay, what that means. All right. Yeah, though I gotta pop off because I have other things to do. But it's been great having you on, and hopefully I'll watch more highlights of this after it's finished. But take care, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on again, Aviva. It's been great to have you.
I hate to be that person too, but I also should go. I just wanted to stop in and say hi. I have to get ready for school. But
Brilliant.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on to the call. Call-in. Call-in without caller just don't feel right.
Yeah, I know it's weird. Every time I hear a song and they say like I'm calling you, I always hear my name and I'm like, wait, they're not. That song's not about me. But anyway, hey, you guys have a good one. Good to see you.
Have
guys.
a good evening,
Colin, brother.
Take care.
This has just gone from one weird extreme to the next. I think we've talked about things that I did not think we'd be talking about. So yeah, it's been good fun. But there's some really good comments. I'm gonna come to some. So there's a good point here. Gov will be the more creative player. Skip will be the more creative player of the double pivot because of his passes through the lines in transition. I mean, my man Højbjerg's got a goal and assist in his last 2 games. So I don't know. What do you think?
It's good. It's good that our midfield too have various skills that they can bring, and it's what you want to see. So, and we've got Sarr coming in as well, who looks incredible. He can take a free kick, which we've not had in years.
Well, Giovanni Lo Celso can take a free kick.
But he doesn't start for us, so he's never on the pitch to take them. So yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, it's great. It's great, and yeah, I'm with Gov that Skippy is showing a range of passing. I still think he'll still sit deeper, and that Højbjerg will be the more advancing one because we've seen him do that for Denmark. But Skip, I'm sure he's young. He's still 23, is he? Skip?
No, he's 20.
No, he's 20. He's an England under 21 international. Yeah,
he's 20. And the thing with it as well, to bring up Gov's comment as well. I do think he's got a better passing range than Hobo, but I actually see not him being the more creative. If I had to summarise what I think Skip is going to be, it's Michael Carrick. And Michael Carrick did exactly what he did, not being, yes, he was creative because his passes were always going forward and whatever, but he wasn't, when I think creative, I think more like, there's your flair, whatever, and I don't see Skip being that, but I can see Skip definitely being Michael Carrick with his passing range. His passing range is outstanding. What I love about Carrick, and you saw against the Newcastle game, he knows where danger is. Like that sliding tackle he made in the first half, like when Newcastle on the attack just outside the area, his positional awareness to be in the right place at the right time is just outstanding. And I can't remember a player we've had that has been that good in that position of reading the game, but then he's got the passing range to back it up. And one of my favourite passers, forget Glenn Hoddle, who was the best passer we've had. The other one, apart from Michael Carrick, and I've forgotten his bloody name now, Tom Huddleston. I love Tom Huddleston. I love Tommy Huddleston. I thought we had such a great player, but injuries. But he was another one that has such great passing range, and that's what I see Skip.
Is he still playing, Huddleston? Is he still in the chat?
Did he re-sign for Hull?
So Hull,
I think he's re-signed back at Derby. I think he's with Derby with Rooney, where we bought him from.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, he's still playing.
Yeah. But I love Tommy Huddleston, and that's that. So Oscar, I see him being creative, but I see it in more a Tommy Huddleston and Oliver Skip way than a Flair kind of way.
Yeah, so he'll be like the pass before the pass before the pass sort of thing.
Basically, he'll be like a quarterback. If you want to say like you've got that player like De Bruyne who could just whip out a pass anywhere, believe me, I'm not putting De Bruyne in Skips in De Bruyne's level.
I mean, hopefully he will be like De Bruyne.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we'd love that. But I can see him. They talk about this quarterback role like in football. The one, even if you saw it on Sunday, a lot of that triangle passing in the second half, the tip of that triangle and making the angles and being there for everyone was on his Skip. And that's what I see him doing and just getting better and better. And I think he'll be on the World Cup team to Qatar. That's how good I think he'll become.
Big call.
And he'll still be an under 21 for that as well. Because I don't know when he's just turned 20, hasn't he? He's not long turned 20, so he's not 21 till next year. So I think
Jude Bellingham can get to a Euros, Skip can get to a World Cup.
Yeah, no, it's possible. There's a high competition though for those places. You've got Declan Rice, you've got Calvin, and I was going to say Calvin Harris. What's his name? Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips is a great player as well.
Yeah, so it'll be tough. And Bellingham as well. They're great players. So the competition's high. But I'm with you. Like he has the season that we all feel he's going to have.
He could take out Jordan Henderson
in a fight, or
maybe. We have got Cody Mack. Hi.
Oh my God.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, Cody.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Here we are, the Shan Show. You know what? I was thinking there's two things that we could call, like the Shan Show. It kind of sounds like the shit show, but also it kind of sounds like Wayne's World. You know, like have you ever seen Wayne's World?
Shan Show, party on.
Shan Show, party time. Excellent.
Okay, I need to make that my theme tune. Just saying. Caller, make it happen, please.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cody.
I can't believe, did you ignore my comment saying that Eric Dyer's haircut should be called the Armadillo? That was class. I can't believe that got ignored.
Did you come on here just to say that?
Yeah, I gotta go now. See you later. No, I'm just kidding.
I like Eric Dyer. I think he's all right. I think he gets unfair criticism.
No, I think he gets fair criticism, actually.
Yeah.
Thing is, like, he does so many of the good things that everyone recognizes, but it all gets ruined by like it's just too many bad mistakes way too often, and those, they kind of cancel each other out. You know, like, I think he deserves the criticism he gets.
Army dialogue.
he's not getting better either. You know, if you'd hope there'd be progression, that he would iron these things out, but he's not getting better, and his awareness is terrible. Who's behind him? He's always that face. He's always got that face. Oh, when we concede a goal, it's like, you know, he didn't know the player was there, and it's that sort of shit that doesn't fly in the Premier League these days.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, I know everybody is like really happy with the Newcastle win, and you know, let me caveat this by saying any win on the road in the Premier League is always going to be a gem of a win. 3 points, always valuable. I even tweeted before the game, I don't care how we do it. It could be ugly as sin. I really don't care. But Eric Dier is the reason that we can't try and pass the ball around for a complete half of football. You know, the only difference between what happened in Newcastle and what happened West Ham 3-3 is that we were playing a much poorer opponent. You know, because we have Eric Dier, who is so injury prone in the back line, kind of like the disaster waiting to happen. I feel like we can't approach games like that. We need to be more aggressive. We need to get shots on goal. We need to finish teams off, especially teams as poor as Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, we had chances too, didn't we, as well? We were playing pretty well. I mean, Lucas hit the bar. To be fair, I weren't watching it. I was driving and listening to it on the way home, which is dangerous. I definitely do not recommend listening to Spurs whilst driving. It's probably as dangerous as drink driving or drug driving. I don't recommend it. Emotions all over the place, especially when it's raining, which it weren't, thank God. But yeah, no, I think we had chances too. I think we're still missing a bit of that cutting edge and being as clinical. I mean, under Mourinho, considering we didn't create too much, we were pretty clinical with what we did create. Whereas this season, I feel like we're starting to create more, but we're not as clinical when we do create the chances. What do you think, Cody?
I think we did a good job of impressing ourselves upon them. You know, we definitely suffocated them, but aside from, like, Lucas hit the bar, I mean, it doesn't really count. It doesn't count as a shot on target, does it? So I mean, if you think about it, I mean, is there any circumstance in which you want Tottenham Hotspur to go an entire half of football without registering a shot on target? And that's what we did in Newcastle. Now, you can make the argument that, you know, being up 3-1, that's kind of how you want to finish out a game. But again, going back to the tendency for us to give up leads and the tendency for players like Eric Dier to make, you know, bad mistakes. And Romero's not absolved of that type of criticism yet either. You know, pretty much every game he's making an error that either does lead to a goal or leads to a dangerous chance. So it's remains to be seen whether or not they're going to be a good fit together. But yeah, I would just like to see us, you know, it depends what you think we are. You know, if we're a mid-table side, which is quite possible, then a result the way we did it on Sunday is completely acceptable. If you have the aspirations to be in the top 4 or even finishing 5th or 6th, I think we have to be finishing off teams like Newcastle, scoring that extra goal, putting the game completely out of doubt. And you know, there's always that extra little bit of doubt with us, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think even when we were good, we had that.
No, I don't think we did though. Like with that final season, I always hark back to the final season at the Lane. But that was the one season where no matter who we played, I was confident we'd win. Man U against Arsenal. You just, even before the game in the lineups, just looking at the players and how pumped up they were, you just knew in their heads they were going to win. And we haven't had that. It's been sort of diminishing since that season. But that was a season where every game I was like, certainly at home, we're going to win.
Yeah, you see it quite a bit, especially recently, you know, with Champions League football coming back to our television screens, you know, the references to 2017 or 2019 when we were back. The one thing about watching Champions League football right now is it is a little bit depressing, considering it really doesn't look like we belong in the Champions League, and it doesn't look like we're close to belonging in the Champions League. But, you know, hopefully we're just building something step by step, and Paratici is given license to do his job and given the funds to do it properly.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all dream, can't we, Cody? Definitely. But on that note, we've been going for an hour and 35 minutes, and I'm conscious it's getting late. It's 20 to 11, and I'm an old lady these days. You know, got to get my beauty sleep. So, Brendan, as always, thank you for coming on the Shan Show.
Pleasure, Shan. Anytime.
And Brian, I feel like you're basically a regular. You might as well become co-host at this point. Thank
Well,
you for coming on.
Well, no, Sean, it's always, as you know, I always support you. It's always a pleasure to come on the show and be with you guys. It's the first time I've been with the stream with Brendan. Really loved actually finally getting to see and talk and share the screen with you and share the stream with you. That was great. And of course, I'm very homesick and I'm missing a very, very, very good friend of mine. And he had the gratitude to just pop on and say hello. So I got to see Cody as well. But when I'm back in Canada, I go back to Canada now. What? 2 weeks Friday, I'm back. So then the time difference becomes the issue because my wife would have just finished work. And if I go, all right, wife, hope you enjoyed your day at work. I'm going to do a stream for an hour and a half. I might be getting divorced quicker than I thought, but we'll see what we can do.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on. And Cody, for a quick cameo, thanks for coming on, saying hi and saying that Dier's hair is like an armadillo. It's been great.
Armadillo, as Bob Spur would say. But no, I think this is a great idea. I always like call-in shows, and good on you. You're doing such an incredible job. Gotta love the Cheese Room, and everybody to make sure to smash a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes, thank you, Cody, for the support, and do make sure you smash that like and subscribe. And until Friday, when the caller is back with a very esteemed bunch of panelists, I say that because I will probably be there. Come on, you Spurs.
Leave you.
Come on, you
Spurs.
Yeah.